So we can see ourselves. Welcome to another episode of Don't Panic, episode Isaac, better known as Prophecy Girl or for you OGs, designed by Isaac, which is hilarious to me. First of all, what you been up to? How are you? Because I haven't seen you in so long. How are you?
I'm good. I am enjoying not playing shows purely just to rest. I've been good. I have been enjoying not playing shows just to have a break and to be able to go out to events again and to I was missing out on a lot of friends' birthdays and stuff while touring. I've been touring most of this year. So it's been nice to take a breather and to actually enjoy stuff. And I've been working. I have 2 day jobs, and I've been working at that and just chilling out.
Right? Have you been thinking about doing more graphic design related stuff, or that's kind of helping you do what you're doing at the moment?
It's been cool to have I did 5 years of graphic design at Swinburne, and so it's cool to have all of this knowledge under my belt of creativity and I have such a particular way of how I want things to look and how I want. I do all my own designs with merch, and I did my tour posters, and everything I do, I like to have complete control over, and it's been cool to be able to use my degree for this kind of way, which I never thought I could do it myself.
I feel like you perceive the world a lot differently from people that aren't in that field. There's a lot of artists or influencers or something like that where their background isn't in the creative or art scene. They've always found it interesting, but they fall into it because of their personality. But then they don't, I feel have that ability to have the critical eye and look at things and see if it's good or if it's bad. I don't know. I think there's a huge advantage having that background. Because not to dunk on all the beautiful NARM people, but there are a lot of people where you meet them and they're at these events and they're super fun and they're super cool people, and I ask them what do they do, and they have nothing outside of that, nothing to do with it. It almost feels like they're dressed up. When then I talk to people like you, and I talk to some other people of the same mindset, and this is what they do all the time. This isn't the costume. Going to fancy formal events is when they're not being themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was this is I love that, and it kind of made me really appreciate at those big types of events like shows or going to galleries and all sorts of stuff. You can pretty quickly spot the people that love it because they're passionate about it, or the people that are there that just want to get a photo there, or just to talk to you or say that they've spoken to you. I feel there's such a big, I don't know, there's a clear difference. And that's something that, I don't know, you kind of would pick up on if you're definitely from a graphic design or a music or an arts or anything kind of background.
Yeah.
My opinion, obviously. Sorry to call out people that just want to appreciate things and art from that background. You're also allowed to like it and appreciate it.
Yeah. It's cool how everything arts and creative related brings so many people together, even if they're not doing it as something they're passionate about. It's cool to be able to do shows and to create these events where everyone does enjoy it, and even if they don't have any knowledge on it, but it's nice to finally feel I'm meeting my people that are creative people, and to it's so all throughout high school it was never the arts was never favored by schools.
I feel a lot of people I've spoken to that have done graphic design, if you weren't doing well, you didn't have friends. A lot of the time you'd spend lunchtime in the Viscom room, or if you had a good Viscom teacher, you would just be in love with your Viscom teacher.
Yeah.
You'd always spend so much time with them. Everyone, 2 or 3 people that I know, they have the personal emails of their Viscom teachers,
Yeah.
and they just touch base. And
That's
I'm
so
I feel that's something that you don't get with outside of that field? Like it's always the artistic like field. I
Yeah,
wanna
so
know.
real. That literally happened to me. I was always like up until year 11, I was very, I'm gonna do like film and TV. I want to study this. That's what I'm gonna do. And then I had an amazing Viscom teacher in year 11 and 12, and it just like sparked something where she was so incredible. She could see that within me, so it made me just love it even more and made me so passionate for it because there was someone to support me with it. Yeah, like it's insane how teachers, like I hope they understand how impactful their like presence is, like can be, like if they're supportive for someone, like
They're excited for you. You
yeah,
feel it. You feel their
totally.
excitement
Yeah,
completely.
that's why I like didn't go pursue media because the teacher was just like didn't really give a shit.
So, segue. Don't panic, but I'm going to ask you some questions. Play on words. Have you always been a creative person?
Yeah, since I could hold a pencil, I was drawing, and I saw Evanescence live the other week.
You did.
I did. It was amazing, and it was so like crazy to like. I remember being like 7 years old, listening to their album called The Open Door, and I just like I'd get the CD cover and just draw it, and like I drew so much like fan art of all my favorite like singers. Like I have so many. Like I would love to know where they possibly. My mum keeps everything, so I'm
Do
sure
you
they're
have
around.
like childhood photos where it's like, okay, that person's going to be in this field type situation?
I did actually
Were you like
think
performing? Were you like a little performer?
always in my bedroom. And I used to do like theater outside of school since I was like 7, 8 till I was about like 14. So like being on the stages was always something like it's always something that just felt right, but it wasn't like theater wasn't the way to do it. Like it's funny to now be on the stage again and to be doing it in this kind of way and have the confidence to be able to perform on stage as well, and to have had like that experience in my childhood is really cool, and it's funny to like see it all fall into place. But yeah, I grew up on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, so there was nothing really to there was nothing like I wasn't really surrounded by anything that I found inspiring there. Like it was very, like beachy. I didn't really know anyone else that was like me, so I wasn't able to fully express myself, and also being in the closet, like that's a whole other thing.
That's a whole exactly.
But yeah, like I moved to Melbourne when I was 16 with my family, and ever since we moved here, it was like, oh, like
Makes so much sense.
this is right. Like what have we been doing this whole time? Even for all of us, it's like worked out. So to be able to start meeting like-minded people and just be surrounded constantly by things I'm inspired by, and I was even like still meeting, like that's my favorite thing about shows is to meet the people, and like it's so crazy that like I just love interacting with them because it's like you can just tell we've got this.
They swarm to you. They know you can tell you. But I feel like both. It's like mutual. You can feed off each other's like energy. It's like, oh, where have you been all my life? So nice to talk to you.
Like I can tell there's that. We've both got years of like listening to the same music, and like it was just like led us to this moment, which is really cool. I get these custom balaclavas made that I wear when I walk on stage, and I'll wear it for like the first like 10 to 15 minutes of a show.
Gets too
and it does, but it was like when I started to get booked on these really big shows in front of these really big crowds, I was like, oh fuck, like I don't know how I'm gonna feel in front of like these many people. And when I've played shows to like big crowds before, I can get kind of like really nervous and never want to look up and just like have my head down, and it's like it's daunting.
It's like a barrier.
But but the balaclava, like it makes me feel like they can't see me, so I'm able to like look around, I can like scope the room, be like, okay, like I know that it feels like I can like settle into it a lot more, and then I'm able to perform a lot better. Yeah, and then it's like as soon as I take it off, it's like
the unveiling.
Now let's go. Like
literally taking off your veil.
Speed it up.
I love it.
Thanks.
How's pop culture like Twilight, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, even cemeteries themselves inspired your work?
Yeah, I grew up watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and didn't really get into Twilight till like 2020, like lockdown, and
Mm.
um, yeah, looking for I don't know, something else to do, but
Have you
uh,
watched the Have you
yeah.
watched the commentary, the DVD commentary of Twilight?
No,
Please. Really funny.
I am awful at funny.
Really funny.
Oh, okay.
Robert Pattinson
Yeah.
is actually unhinged
Uh,
all of them. He's just bashing the movie
yeah.
the whole time.
Yeah, he hated it.
And he does it on the DVD commentary.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
really, really funny.
I need to get
He's just
around
making fun of himself the whole time. But sorry, yes.
And what was the question? How did it?
So how did like pop culture in general? I know like
Mm.
Twilight, Buffy, like Avril, like there's so many things. Even like cemeteries, you like do shoots and stuff there. Like you were talking about earlier, that you have always been kind of fascinated by like guts and gore.
Yeah.
But like how dramatically or how much have those pop culture things influenced your work? Like how are they involved? Like is it to just like the theme? I know that you do like posters and all sorts of stuff that definitely pull from that. I know that like the way you dress as well can sometimes pull from that kind of idea as well, and like sound bites as well. Like
Yeah, I guess like even what I mentioned earlier of like growing up on the Sunshine Coast and also in the closet, and to now be like openly queer and be living in Melbourne and surrounded by it. I'm constantly inspired by just like everything, and like it's like now that I'm able to like express myself, it's was never even like a second thought that that's how I want to do it, and it's like I need to do it in this way, and I guess that's just been like a backlog of years that's been like held up. So now that I'm finding my confidence and having this platform to be able to express myself, it's been cool to make my own style from things that I've loved my whole life. And like even the name Prophecy Girl comes from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And when I when I got booked my first DJ show, I was like, oh shit, like I need to, like I was just going under my real name, and I was like, it was like just not even a second thought, like no, I need a persona, I need a character, I need something theatrical. So I had like all these, I knew it was going to be something Buffy related. I'm not even sure why. Like I guess she's someone that is she's just been such a powerful like female voice my whole life, and someone I've probably always looked up to. So I guess that's revelation right now. I guess that's why I
have
chose
this platform. Talk about them.
I guess that's why I chose her. Like just because like DJing and music for me is like the music I play just makes me feel
Like a Slayer.
yeah, it makes me feel like powerful, and to like curate these sounds and this mix of music for people, it's like okay, I need to, because it makes me feel like this, I'm gonna create this character for you, and to have it.
I think your music easily gets also like could be used as edits over those shows, and there's so many clips that make sense with your music as well.
Yeah.
Also like the Blade rave scene and how that music is just like crazy techno. As
Yeah.
well. Like it makes sense. Like it works very well.
Yeah.
And it's not like people aren't inspired, especially I feel like in the queer culture community, by like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Avril Lavigne. But the way that you've like, I think weaponized is a harsh word, but the way that you've like utilized it for your work.
I like weaponized.
Yeah, but how you basically because like you're using it against us, and we have to just accept. Okay, this is the performance. This is the inspiration. It's going to be aggressive. When I want it to be aggressive,
Yeah.
I'm going to take you on this journey, and when we're done, like you're going to be a part of this now. You've been part of this experience, and that's definitely how it feels.
Yeah, and I guess I've been mostly inspired by these kind of pop culture references like Twilight and Buffy. It's because like I'm also now realizing this is great that often like like goth things and the goth culture is very like it's always been seen as like an outcast, and
Yeah.
but like the community within it is so beautiful and
Accepting and like lovely.
yeah,
I
exactly.
completely
So
agree.
I guess it's been something that I've always looked up to because of that, and like because of how.
That's so similar to the queer community.
Yeah.
Like so yeah, exactly.
And so like I often play like a Twilight remix, and like I've got my own like Decode Paramore remix that I play in like every show, and it's cool to see who in the crowd like gets it too. It's like, oh yeah, like you get this, like you got that trauma too. Like this is just for you.
This is just for you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess myself for always have been felt like an outlier is now using the like.
You can draw from those. Like you've been able to feel like an outlier, see something that reminds you of your like representation in the media almost. And then you've been able to turn something like that into a creative avenue for you,
totally.
and then share it with people. I
Yeah.
definitely think that's what you've done.
Yeah, it's.
And there's so much more to pull from as well.
Yeah, it's cool that people think that what I'm doing is cool, because it's like Prophecy Girl is just everything that I am already. So it's cool that people are supportive of that,
Completely.
because it feels like I finally started to express my like true self, and I've been given these opportunities that I'm able to do so, and it's nice that people
Accept
support
it.
that.
Yeah,
so it's
completely. Okay, this is a bit of a more technical question, I guess. What is your definition of a graphic designer specifically related to you? So, there's graphic designers and there's a lot of different definitions and people do different things. But like for you right now, like what aspect of you is still a graphic designer? What are you doing right now as a graphic designer?
Yeah, even when I was doing my Bachelor of Design, I was always finding ways to design for music. Like I really loved designing like album artworks, and like I've even got a few of my own designs on Spotify that I've done for other artists and singers, which is so cool. And that was always going to be that was the original pathway I was going to go after uni. But now that I'm in music, and like music is now like the number one
thing.
Pathway, I guess.
Completely.
But yes, I'm still a graphic designer in the sense that I still have that I'm still a graphic designer, that
I feel like it's like your perspective never changes from being a graphic designer. The way you view your music, the way you view everything is still from that point of view.
I guess everything that I do music wise, I immediately see or I immediately think of how I want to do it visually, and how
you can see the potential in it.
Yeah, and everything like music and visuals are so like they just go hand in hand. They can enhance something so much more. Like either side of it, like if you have music with good visuals or good visuals with music, it really elevates it so much more. So I guess I'll always have that perspective on the way I go with music.
The way I like to define it to family and friends and people that don't really get it, and it's kind of a general statement, but it works what you're talking about, is it's a way to monetize being creative in a way that like art isn't, and monetize in the sense that you can be a graphic designer and be an everyman or an every woman. You can do music, you can also do photography. You don't strictly have to be a graphic designer. I know people that are tattoo artists that have done our degrees. It's just a way to communicate to people and talk to people and work out their ideas and make them like a reality. And because of those like teachings, that's why I feel like it's so easy to implement into your work, into other pieces of work. And so, I feel like a graphic designer, that's why it's so hard and why I'm making this, is to explain what it is because in many different ways, like even if your background isn't in graphic design, like you're all designing certain things, you're all like creating certain things.
True.
And an artist can paint, but they aren't given the tools to like sell it. They have to learn over time, galleries, blah, 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 blah. Whereas I feel like it's really ingrained into us, what does this client want for you? Like, what does the audience want? Also, like, what do I want? How can I and to change this, how can I make it interesting? And then, you know, we have to pull from inspirations to create stuff.
Yeah.
The same way you'd have to do it for a client. Okay, they want it to look like this, that's inspiration. You pull from your inspirations. Like, the mechanics are still there, but it can be applied to so many things.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah, it's cool to like have conversations with other people in entirely different creative industries. And you can always find ways to relate to what they're saying. It's like, oh yeah,
There's
I feel
like
exactly that. This is like the way I'm doing it in my kind of industry. And there's always that just like general knowledge that you all kind of understand what is going on in their own industry, like just through.
It clicks so much quicker than people that aren't. Yeah, I completely agree. Okay, I have so many here that we don't have to do them all. I had more questions for you than I did for Alana.
No, we can do it.
This can be a simple one. You can say like one or the other. Do you see yourself more as a designer or a musician / like entertainer? At least right now.
Yeah, definitely more of a musician, performer. But often I will have an idea of how I want, like what I want my like first single to look like, and then kind of will probably make the music around that instead of doing the music first and then the artwork. Like it's gonna be interesting to see, like, I don't really know which way I'm gonna go with it, but yeah, I definitely see currently myself as more of a performer, but
I was trying to find your Design by Isaac Instagram, and I was like, where's that gone? Is it still there?
I don't remember. Oh, it's under...
Has it been changed name?
It's changed name, but it's still there. When I changed it to Driving Blind.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I was like, what is it called now? Driving Blind. Yeah.
But yeah, even seeing that is funny. But yeah, it's... When I was at uni doing graphic design, whenever we'd have to do something in class, like, you know, like draw something, I'd like kind of like sit there and be like, I don't, like, it's scary to, you know, like to express ideas because they're not always going to be amazing or good, but it's like, no one look at what I'm doing yet. It's going to be good. Like, it's
Hold on.
Process.
And then what have I written here? We already answered that. Were there things that graphic designers helped you accomplish in the world of music?
Ooh, I guess graphic design really made me, it really made me discover music and discover my love for music. And it made me like realize that like I love all the visual side of music. I love, yeah, so...
Specifically, I love the screens they always put up behind some shows as well.
Oh my
That
God.
was the thing that got me so excited about visuals.
Visuals are my favorite thing ever. Like, yeah, it just enhances the show so much more. Like, I want to find ways to just make the entire space...
just like a spectacle for your eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a total experience. But yeah, graphic design made me discover music and discover my love for music. And yeah, it like I met a lot of people when I was designing that I had people reaching out for work, for me to design their work, which is really cool. And I've always been very, like, I never could see myself working in a design studio because I only really enjoy working for myself.
Right.
And like if it's not to my style, I don't really enjoy it because it's not me, it's not my work. And so uni was interesting. It like really helped discover my style. And like throughout the 5 years at uni, it took around like the third year that I was starting to like really get into it and be like, oh, okay, like I can really change the brief to suit my style or to do it this kind of way. Like it was cool how like limitless it was, and like it really made me figure out how, like, what kind of mediums I like to work with and how I can best portray what I'm trying to say in something.
Yeah.
And like I found that through photography and like typography.
Yeah, typography definitely for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, that like if it wasn't for doing a design course, I wouldn't have been able to find this style as well. Like the way I express myself, like it like through like Pinterest and finding things, it's like, oh shit, like there's something about this particular style that I just love so much. And it kind of correlates with this kind of music and this kind of thing. So it's been cool to like look at the timeline of like the past 5 years, and things are falling into place that I never thought could. And there's definitely like, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't be here with such a strong visual presence.
Yeah. What did I say? I was thinking about something that can kind of tie up with that. What piece of work you have? You were talking about not liking working in like a studio sphere, but I also think that like you also kind of co-founded the collective known as Rendition Arts.
I didn't co-found. Miranda Sky founded that. She's amazing, and she's actually the one that booked my first ever DJ show at Rendition. And then she hired me to co-run it with her.
Right.
And so I was doing that for a few months, and it was really cool to get first-hand experience of the music industry, and to especially the aspect of like booking artists, and like whenever we'd book an artist and if they were like as equally excited for the event as we are, then we'd be like, oh my gosh, they were amazing, let's book them again.
Yeah.
Like it just creates such a beautiful community if people are in the same mindset as we were. Yeah, so it was really cool to work with Rendition, and it was nice to have a say in the visual aspect as well. And Miranda is so like, she's just always had that beautiful intention of Rendition, where it incorporates all these
Different aspects.
other creatives.
Yeah. Because it definitely doesn't feel like just one thing.
No. Like she'll get fashion designers, she'll get visual artists, she'll get she'll get artists to make sculptures for the show. She'll make it such an immersive experience, which is really cool. And it was so cool to be a part of that, and then to have my say in that, to be like, oh, I really want these artists and I really want it to look this way, and let's do an event like this, and we bounce ideas off each other. So it was cool to work in that kind of like industry where it was something we had like very similar ideas, which was really cool.
It's ironic that there's so many people from particularly one of the collective ones that you did at Collingwood Yards that I came to mind when wanting to do interviews for this specifically. Maria, I met them like before I met you at like a club. I was I was really sweaty. I was really off my face, and I was like, "Hi, how are you? Oh, I love your piece." And then like it was one of these moments where I was single, by the way, and where I was being like, we were like holding onto each other's arms because we didn't know where anyone else was. And we were just yapping away. It was like 2019 or something. And we were talking about like arts and stuff. I didn't even know what they did. And then at the end of the night, I was like, bye, see you later. And then bumped into them again on like Chapel Street briefly. And then started seeing what they were doing for uni. And then all of a sudden Rendition Arts, and then making the visuals. And I was like, this is nuts. How do I keep bumping into these celebrities so early on? But that's so. And then Tamara I met in 2019 as well, taking photos of me at a festival, chatted about photography, chatted about Hello Kitty.
Yeah.
Realised that they knew literally everyone in like that same similar age group to me as well. I was like, okay, this is fantastic for what I'm doing, because I love like meeting these people in the same way that you said that it's not like networking, but like, you know, around 2019 I realized especially after like high school, I was like, all right, if I be myself, let's see how that works. And being myself had a much better reception, and everyone wanted to, you know, was happy to talk to me. And, you know, doing that for a couple of years, and now here we are, like final year university, I have these wonderful really interesting people that I can interview and talk to. I'm so glad that I stopped trying to be cool and popular and just tried to be myself, and it's paid forward so much.
Yes.
So much.
Yeah, like, I've proven to myself that being my most authentic self is not only what I love the most, but it's what everyone else loves the most as well. Like, they can just feel that, and you can feel it with other people too. Like, if you are genuinely being yourself and expressing yourself the way that you want to, it's like you can just feel that, and it's nice to.
You attract the people that you actually want to be around as
Totally,
well. You're not
yeah.
getting fake human beings.
Totally.
Which is definitely an all boys high school problem.
Oh my gosh.
All boys Catholic high school as well. Got to get religion into it. Alrighty, what have I written? Yeah, so I didn't know that you didn't co-found that. I just knew that you were a part of it. But I know Miranda Skies. That's really interesting.
Yeah, she's Mother Rendition. Mother Rendosi.
Rendosi, stop. I don't know if you remember my friend Remy. We always call it Rendosi. We love calling it Rendosi. That's just a silly little thing we do. Okay. I also asked about what it was like during the rave scenes the last couple of years. You know, what it's like behind the scenes. Because like I know that you started performing at a lot of these ones that were happening in lockdown. And at least you were asked on to do it.
Yeah.
And I would be curious to see like what it was like being on the other side of the tent compared to everyone else.
Yeah. I had never really had experience with raves until I started to play at raves. And then also because I was meeting, like when I moved to the city and started meeting all these people that were like totally for this kind of lifestyle. I was like, oh, this is cool. Like I'm meeting my people, and we're hosting these raves that are for our people, and we're like celebrating music, and it's like that's really the idea of what a rave should be about.
Yeah.
It's like it's even how like raves started. It was started by queer communities that weren't allowed in clubs, that weren't comfortable in clubs, that started their own parties, and it was so.
It definitely felt like that for the first like year and a half, and then it devolved.
Huh. The fucking.
But for the good times, it was good.
Yeah, it was so tragic to see the like. Just
TikTokification somehow.
Exactly, and like people going to these events for the wrong reasons, that they didn't like. They're not there for the music. They're just there to like to get fucked up and to just destroy where they are, and like it was so. Like it just like got to the wrong people, and
yeah, it did.
It was like like I just stopped going. I stopped playing, and I was like, I don't. Like it's nice that I do now have these spaces that I can go to and feel comfortable at, and like it was just like fuck, like you guys fucking ruined this.
Yeah,
like,
I think I stopped
so
around the
shitty.
last time I saw you. That was like, okay, this is really good. This is the same thing. This is getting really crowded. And the one I went to, the All Stay one, that Maddie, I'm friends with Maddie Jackson, and they had there's this van that was parked behind it, and the van at the start of the night that was holding all the gear, fine. The van at the end of the night, vandalized.
I was there.
Yeah, vandalized, windows smashed. I was watching like an actual child on top of the van.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I didn't think I would go to these anymore. The police are here. I heard multiple times on the way, oh my God, this is my first rave. Oh my God, I've got school tomorrow.
Oh my God.
Let's make a TikTok. And I heard all of these things on my, like, in the dark walking to it. I was like, I feel old.
Yeah.
I don't feel safe. I don't know what the queer community feels like right now. Probably not very safe at all.
No.
I remember talking to Maddie, who was in charge, bawling her eyes out. And I was like, you okay? And she's like, it's going very badly.
Yeah.
It's out of control, and this is not like... And I was like, okay. And I was like, okay, I think it's done for now. Like, towards the end of COVID, it started getting like that, and I was like, it's done. But I was curious, what it was like for you from your perspective. You obviously had a similar realization.
Yeah, it was just... Especially hearing about all the violence that started happening, and especially violence towards the trans community. It was like, fuck, this is like nothing I thought could happen. Like, it's so scary that it is still happening, and it's actually real, and that it can happen today is so fucked up. And that it's happening at these music events. It's like, what? Like, how are
This
you...
is where you're supposed to be safe. Yeah.
Yeah, like,
nuts.
Just enjoy the music, and like, oh, it's so sad, but I'm glad I can see that raves are getting way more exclusive again. Like,
Yeah, I've also found that people like that used to run those
mm,
are doing paid events at things instead.
mm,
And the people that want to go will pay,
mm,
and then they go, and it's a much smaller knit thing. Like I know that like Strictly Tracks, they do like more drum and bass style things, and they never got to do the rave scene, but they do the smaller events. They did it at Carla before that shut,
oh yeah,
and so going to those, it's really nice. There'll be like 30 people, and there won't be a lot of people, but like it's for the music. You chat to the same people. I know All Stay for a while was trying to do it, and then you've obviously been able to break out of having just smaller house party gigs
yes,
and like having a community.
yeah. That's what it was always fun. Like the rave, like I would purely go to raves just to like hang out and chat. You know, so it was
Yeah,
nice that like it
completely.
wasn't loud at all. That you were able to just bump into anyone, you
Yeah,
know, and
completely.
just to have chats was so
20 meters away, there would just be pockets of people chatting.
yeah,
People lying like flat on the ground staring at the
Yeah, it was-
sky, and I was like, okay, this is hilarious.
yeah,
Yeah, I definitely felt super comfortable there. It also felt like a friends meetup in a weird way.
totally.
And people that I normally, just because of how I am, would be like weird to approach in real life or like message or whatnot. They were just there, and I didn't know who they were.
Yeah.
And I would just be like, "Oh hi, you have a nice hat. Like, let's chat." And then I would find out they were like, "Do you know who that was?" And I was like, "No, sorry, does it matter? We had a good chat." They're like, "Oh, okay." So I loved that it kind of pulled down these weird barriers that like the internet kind of puts up,
Yeah,
where
totally.
you could just talk to people.
And so many people that I would only see at raves but like have the best time with. It's like, oh my god, you again?
I was a person I go to university with called Caspar Lee, I think his surname. Or it's not- But they were at your birthday rave thing a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
and we met there. And I found out that they did my degree later on,
Right on.
and now we weren't really like we weren't friends until like recently. But I would go to the most obscure shit, and they would try. Someone would be trying to push past me. Caspar.
Nah.
Caspar like, of course you're fucking here. I was like, oh, funny seeing you, and it would happen again. There'd be months in between, happen again, and I'm
Yeah.
like, get away from me. But this is so funny. And what I realized, it's not that we were going to the same things, the Caspar was going to everything. And I was like, you need a break. You need
Yeah.
to stop. Okay. Do you feel like it's necessary for a qualified designer to be invested in other pursuits like you are? Like, do you feel like it's mandatory for success to not just be a designer, but also have your like hand in other jars as well?
So interesting. I don't know. Like I am just someone that wants to try everything. Like I like made and sold clothes in lockdown, and then I did the graphic design stuff, and then I'm doing the music stuff, and like it's been helpful for what I'm doing. Like I've had all this experience with creating my own website and selling and what works and what doesn't. So in that aspect, it is good to have to at least try it as much as you can. And I guess that's what happens with uni, and it's like cool to have those electives and to like force you to try new things and to really figure out what you like, and you can get like bits of knowledge from everything into that one thing. But I don't think I just think it helps if you have like, I think musicians, like if they've got a good eye for like, you know, art and creativity, it definitely helps.
But it's not necessary, but like it's something you'll pick up no matter what eventually, but it's good as like a baseline thing as well to maybe not put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
Not that you're not committed to it, but it's good to see like options because you don't realize how much one thing can benefit the other thing as
Yeah,
well.
totally.
Yeah, cool. That's what I thought as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of why I chose comms design because it's pretty broad and it's allowed you to do music. It's allowed other people to do completely out of like framed things that they wouldn't have normally done.
Yeah, I was totally surprised at my comm design course of how much we were actually doing. It's like, oh, this is really cool that we were doing, even like we were doing like 20th century design class and learning about like the history and yeah, it was so cool to learn so much aspects of the design world.
Oh my god, this is exciting. You have performed in front of a range of huge crowds. Could you share some stories from the momentous ones? Charlie XCX, Machine Girl immediately comes to mind. Are there any crazy stories from that? Because, or even list some of the crazy names that you've done now.
So any crazy stories? The Machine Girl one, I opened for Machine Girl like last August, and it was very like, I found out on the Tuesday that I was playing on the Thursday, and
Nuts.
with like that was my first big show. Like that was to like 750 people, sold out, and that was like fuck. Like this is
It was amazing.
happening. This is really going somewhere. But yeah, that set is like one of my favorites ever. And then touring with Charlie XCX was like, that will forever be the
It doesn't seem real.
no,
Me even.
it will forever be my most proud moment. Like that to me was my like 10-year goal. Like as soon as I started DJing, like when I first opened for Slater, I was like, oh shit, like this is a thing I'm doing, and I can do it with these singers. Like I can open for these kind of people. I'm like, fuck, okay, like that means I can open for Charlie. That means I can do that in like 10 years, you know?
Yeah.
And then I did it in 2. I was like, fuck. And then I did her Brisbane and Melbourne shows, and that was to 1,500 people, sold out both times.
Just
And
no.
it was, yeah, I had like the poster on the like opposite side of my bed with, yeah, the Charlie XCX supported by Prophecy Girl. And it's like,
And you didn't have to steal it. You got it.
yeah, I got it printed myself. But
That's great.
yeah, seeing that it doesn't feel real for like for how influential she's been in my life. Like it doesn't feel real that I did that for her. Like I did the show, like that's something I did, but it still hasn't like clicked because of how much she's impacted my life. It's like, that's Charlie, baby.
And I
don't know.
guarantee it's probably not going to be the last time that you do interact.
No,
all.
I hope not. It definitely won't be. Even like I toured with Slater, and I did her like the East Coast with her recent Australian tour, and I'd opened for her the year before, so it was really cool to do it again and to now be doing like the tour with her. And like she was the coolest. Like she was so down to like hang out before and after the show. And when we were playing here
Slater?
yeah,
Yeah.
when we were playing here in it was a Thursday night, and she's like, oh, like kind of want to go out and like go dancing. I was like, okay, like do you want to go out like incognito as a celebrity? And she's like, as a celebrity. I'm like, okay.
Obviously.
Being a Thursday night, I take her to Smith Street, like where all the gay clubs are, and we like barely make it in the door of Circuit and just get swarmed by by the gays. And it was too much. She had to go,
But still, like, even though I would have been so overwhelming, just like being able to like sit with that excitement at home would have been nuts. Would have been so exciting. That's amazing.
Yeah, she's even said like whenever I'm in like LA, I can hit her up, and like it's been cool to. It's been fucking crazy actually to have
It is nuts.
these people that I've idolized for years and that have like just inspired me so much to now be recognized to be recognized at an industry level with them is so crazy. And to have them like recognize me for my work is mind blowing.
I feel like it humanizes them so much as well. You realize that they're performers, but they're people and they have personalities, and you get to kind of, understand that a lot more than like the fans do, and you get to appreciate that. And I think it's that weird thing when you meet an idol, and maybe they're not exactly what you expected, but they're like better because they're like a real person, and you get to like learn who that is.
Yeah, it was so crazy, and yeah, it did make it feel so much more like definitely personalized. Like, oh, like you're just like me kind of. And we like me and Slater had so much like in common. Like we both come from like very theatrical backgrounds, so we had so much to like talk about. It was funny that like how like similar our pathways have been. Yeah, she's the coolest.
I'm jealous, but I'm so proud and so happy.
Thanks.
My brain is just not, maybe it's embarrassing. I remember when we first like met. I think we added each other on Facebook, and I did like a deep dive on your Facebook, looking at your older photos.
Oh my god.
And I was like, oh, I love the like skinny Brit black
No,
jeans,
do
like the striped
not.
tops, and I was like, I want this exact stuff too, and I thought I fucking ate. I thought
Yeah.
it looked so good, and I did not, and I love to see it. Makes so much sense. You see the progression, and it adds to it, you know, because I feel like the successful, lovely people didn't always look hot and gorgeous from day one. You know, they had to learn.
Yes, there's photos show growth.
Growth.
I don't
No, I love it.
look at them.
It's
but
so. It's beautiful.
I'm glad I'm here now. You know, it's like fuck. I was really living like that.
It's real though. Like you're a person, and I think it's just I don't know. It makes for me immediately. I was like, okay, this is a person that reminds me of like myself being like a young creative person, kind of working out who I am. Why do people not immediately get me?
Yeah, it's just figuring
Why do
shit
I
out.
like wearing my mum's shoes around the house? Like, what's going on? Still not sure. We're working that out. Okay, what have I got here? How has it been traveling to these places for work? Do you think like leaving the Melbourne bubble has improved your creative like process?
It was like I've never been overseas yet, so now that I'm doing this, it's cool to be like, oh, okay, like I'll just wait until I can get like paid to go overseas. But even like just touring Australia and to like go to all these cities has been so crazy. For like for my work is insane, and like yeah, it's very rewarding, and it's so cool to go to these cities and to meet these other people in these communities and to feel such a connection and like, oh, like we're all like the same, like even though you're in like this city so far away, like there's still that passion and we all share that. And
Would you say it's different though? I feel like Melbourne is such a bubble though.
Melbourne is
Like I feel
Melbourne's
like
my favorite always. Like
I love Melbourne, but we do get in whatever. I feel like we get in our own way a lot. We're thinking we're like the bee's knees.
no, we are though. Like
We are
it's-
the bee's knees. I
yeah.
wouldn't know. I haven't been
Proven.
anywhere else.
I've done my studies. I've done my research by playing these other shows. I think Perth is the most. It's like the sister city to Melbourne.
Wow,
In
okay.
terms of like the people, especially the people that there's like, and then the shows that they're running are very similar, and just the passion for arts feels the most similar.
That makes sense. They have like really good theatre schools and stuff there as well.
Yeah, right. Yes, I think Perth is like my second favorite city ever. And then I guess like like this is purely based on
Your experience.
my experience
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like this kind of scene, you know. So yeah, Sydney and Brisbane just don't really have many don't have as much venues or opportunities to host these kind of shows and
Yeah,
events.
they closed late early as well.
Yeah, and they've got like rules and stuff. So there's just aspects of that, which is why it's not as going on as it is in Melbourne. Like we've got so many, you know, like queer spaces and
Culture's very different.
like every weekend, every night there's something to do and there's something to, you know, like discover. So it's really cool. Yeah, Melbourne is the best, I think.
Look what you're doing to your microphone.
It's not cool.
It's gonna sound like this.
Oh no.
It's okay. We're cutting all of that because you were no. It's so funny. Hopefully, my microphone is not listening to me breathe like a crazy person this time. Okay. It's like such good audio as well. Like it'll be such a crisp breath.
Nice.
Oh yeah, during your studies, were there any major studios that like pushed you in a particular direction? Like was there any like, okay, this studio has made me really like typography or maybe this studio made me get to experiment with publication, or this one was mainly around like how I could make album art. Like, was there one like that at all for you?
There was a class where we had to make an album artwork and
They
do
love to
the
do it.
whole like front cover, back cover, and we made like a vinyl. And we had to like get it printed, and like it's an actual gatefold vinyl that I've entirely designed. So doing that was such a like, oh, this is what I like. This is what I enjoy the most, and to like we got to choose our own artists to make an album artwork for, and yeah, it was so cool to be like to like find someone that I wanted to create this particular vibe with.
Yeah, it kind of clicked as well.
Yeah.
Would you say that you love physical media, like printed media? Is that something that you took away from uni? I know some people go one way or the other.
Yeah, it's always so nice to have something physical, and it's so like it's so more like you just feel more connected with it, I guess. Yeah, it's
I think you can interact with it a lot differently than you would looking at it on a screen.
yeah,
It's weird.
yeah,
Like
totally.
design wise, that like I've studied around making books that focus purely on like physical interactions that humans have with books,
Cool.
or just printed media, and I definitely know that like from like the weight of something to the texture to like the sheen to the spacing, it all looks very different from what you expect the moment it's like in the real world. And I think from that you get kind of giddy about it, and that's something I only see like designers get giddy about. At Design Week, we got to sell some of our books at the NGV, and you got to have all these people coming around, and I've never seen so many people just like grabbing a book, appreciating the heft of it. Oh, this is like spaced really nicely. Oh, this smells nice. Oh, this feel, and it's like no one else would give a shit about
Yeah,
that.
totally.
But they're like, this is so nice having a physical piece of media, and that's something I feel like as a consumer, you definitely like appreciate as well, even if it's subconscious. And
Yeah.
I'm sure your posters, like having them real, seeing them also at the show, like the advertisements, physically seeing them versus an Instagram post, world of difference.
Yeah. Yeah, even like when I just did a tour with What's So Not, there were a bunch of the posters around like you know when they're like glued on the billboards around the city?
Yeah.
It was around all of Australia and it had like my name on it and I was like, fuck, that is so crazy. And like I went up to one and it was just so like, because the poster itself was very digital and I was like, it was a moving image at first. And then to just like be eye level with it and to like have my name there especially, it was so like,
The scale.
whoa. Yeah. Scale is so cool. And like even visuals, like with the What's Not tour, he had these massive, like the size of bigger than this wall of like this LED screens, and then I was able to have my visuals on there too. And so often during my set I'd like turn around just like look at it like fuck, like
This is beautiful.
that's like these are things that I've gotten I got this my friend Sards to create these visuals and put it all together. So it was something that like I was like sending files and links to him and like just like to see it on like a little screen compared to like to see it there and to see it with my music and to have it and even like to see the videos of me in front of it was so like that's so cool.
This is
That's
exactly what I wanted. I
yeah.
like more.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, yeah. I'm such a slut for printed physical everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's like, even though that's why I'm doing a publication. Like, I love that I can have a magazine that you can hold that, like, it'll be a little bit different for every print. But, you know, because we're in 2023, it's good to have, you know, video and audio. I also don't feel like there's any art mags that I love that have, like, a video element to it. There's either, like, people doing their podcasts, there's people doing their interviews. But, like, I feel like it'll be fun to have the two-tone situation.
That's really cool.
So hopefully I don't botch it. What piece of work was your absolute favourite? Musical, art, or even a performance? Is there anything... Oh, yeah, we'll start with that. Is there anything right now that you're like, was your absolute favourite? That you're most, like, proud of? Maybe it's a set or your first piece of merch that, like, set you off.
I think it will have to be my... on the Revelations tour, I did my first headline Australian tour, and the final show was here in Naarm, and it was like perfect. Like it sold out as well, and it was everything, like all the visuals, everything about it was exactly how I wanted it, and like I got the outfit custom made, and the set was everything I wanted to play, and I even got like a bunch of special guests. Like I had Mallrat come sing,
That's
and
crazy.
Mallrat, Dane, Nina Geraci, and Ravina Golden, who's from the US, and she just like happened to be there that weekend. So it was so like that was like
Yeah,
I
wow.
like in the middle of my set, like I got on the microphone just to like thank everyone. I just started like bawling my eyes out, and it was like just telling everyone how much it meant to me that they were there, and like that. Yeah, that's definitely gonna be the thing I'm most proud of. Um, yeah, in for a long time.
I
But
love that you thanked them. It's just
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, I have to. Like it's like I just want people to like understand how much it means to me that I'm not doing it for any other reason. I'm like, I know this doesn't happen to everyone, so I'm like so grateful for it, and I just like want you to know how much it
It
means. Like,
translates. It translates so easily.
yeah, like your support is so nice, and I'm also very proud of the remixes I've done, and especially the like all the artworks for my mixes on SoundCloud. Like I think most of them I've designed myself. There's only like a few, but yeah, they're always so I like it's just so like funny the way that I design them because it felt so like non-technical, but it was still very like one of them, Acid Bath Princess of the Darkness, is like a MySpace kind of web page screenshot. It looks like, but I did everything entirely myself. So um, yeah, it's
Amazing.
cool.
Okay, and then how much of design is who you know, not what you know?
Ooh,
It can be applied to music as well, but we'll go with design.
yeah. Ooh, I feel like with design, it is more like it's good to have that what you know first. Um, and then just like constantly putting yourself in environments where there is design or where there's opportunities for you to get like I can only really relate with like music. Like I was always going to events, I was always showing up, I was trying to support as many people as I can even before I became Prophecy Girl, like just because it's something I was passionate about. Didn't know at the time it's something I wanted to get into, but
Yeah.
it just shows that you're there and you're committed and that you support, and people see that, people notice that. So if there's something you're passionate about, it's about actually showing your passion for it and to being there, and then you will meet people and people will remember you, and if you're like show that you're genuine and you're passionate, they'll remember that and they'll like lift you up as well. So but you got to know what
I definitely
you
think
know.
you're right. It's right time, right place sometimes, but
Totally.
it's definitely being yourself and getting to know, not being afraid to get to know people. You may not be besties with them, but you know, sometimes it can be
Scary.
mutually
Yeah.
beneficial. Um,
Yeah, even like I regret not trying to make more friends at uni. Like the friends I did make are like amazing and I love them so much, and like it is so different to have friends that are doing the same thing you are, because like there's no one else you can really talk to that
yeah,
about, you know, like you can't talk about
try.
check out the kerning on that poster, you know, it's
Yes,
so
and it's
shit.
hot.
Yeah,
I
so
get
it's
it.
cool to like um yeah, it's
What did I say? I talked to my dad about this, about like when talking about design, music as well. You know, when they're like get a job or do this, you've got to also maybe frame it that you're not doing this work strictly for their generation as well. You know, we're also doing it for our peers, and you know, if the people our age really really like it, that's still enough because eventually they're going to be the people funding it as well. You know, we not to be ageist, but you don't always need to worry so much about what so and so thinks. If they're not in your target demographic, that's fine. If your peers love it, that's amazing. If people a few years older and below love it, that's enough. And it gave me a sense of comfort where I was like, oh, like my family doesn't get it. Why don't they get it? Doesn't matter. I'm not making it for them.
Totally.
I'm making it for me.
Yeah.
And the people that get it. And there are people that do, and that's literally enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting to learn, like, and to discover that not everyone is going to love what you do. And that's just, it's just not going to be for them then, you know, like.
As a people pleaser, I feel like in high school that sucked. Like, I wanted you to like me, why don't you like me? And that definitely is still felt with like work. It's like, I want you to like this, why don't you like this? And it's good. It's good that they don't like it, because you don't want it to be, if they don't want to be a part of that community, they shouldn't be a part of it.
Totally.
So swag. We're destroying this interview. We're almost at the end.
Cool.
If you don't mind, I would love you to run us through a brief you've received in the past. It doesn't have to be a brief. It can be anything. And like walk us through a design process. Alternatively, maybe walk us through the process of booking a gig all the way to flying out, to performing, managing funds, getting home. Just for like anyone that's curious about directly what you do. I feel like you don't work on maybe graphic design as much. So maybe talk about, an example of step-by-step with a gig to kind of make it feel a little bit more accessible to people that don't understand what the hell to do.
Well, I'll talk about the first part actually. With the Revelations tour of my first headline show, I had created in my notes for like a whole year beforehand. I'd like was always writing down ideas, and like whenever I think of something, I'd be like, oh, this is gonna be for that the first tour, and like it'd be like this. And I want to get this artist, and then when it was like coming around to like starting to get that tour going, I had made this entire document, pretty much a brief, and I sent it to my agent, and it was like, this is the mood board. This is each city. I want this support artist. I want this. I want. It was so cool to have like made my own brief for myself, and I like sent it to my agent, and he was like, holy shit, like he sent it to like the big boss, and like, look at what my artist is doing. No other artist is doing
Being
that.
able to make a brief is hard.
Yeah, like he just said no artist has that kind of like self-integrity for their work, and often they're just like, oh, can you get an artist to make this? But yeah,
background in graphic design right there.
Yeah, literally, I can't help it. And so yeah, that was cool. But then what was the second part of the question? Like shows?
And then alternatively, that's like a step-by-step with like a brief example, but could you walk through maybe like what it's like, because that was aimed at design, maybe for like the music, so like from, finding out about either your agent saying booking a gig, from like working it out, like could you walk me through maybe the equivalent of the design process, but for music, for booking a show, and then the aftermath and the funds.
Like
maybe a tour example.
Getting like starting out DJing, I was throwing myself out there as much as I could to like, like to event collectives. I like send a mix. I was like, hey, like this is what I do, like, and then I'd go to those events as well, and I'd like just try and to be involved as much as I can. And then once I got a booking agent, he would just do that for me instead, I guess. But it was crazy a lot of these bigger shows that I've got booked have been purely through like people that I've interacted with, like with the Charlie tour. I've become really good friends with Dane, who's an artist based here, and they're really good friends with Charlie, and that's like Charlie, they were part of Charlie's label at one point.
Yeah.
And yeah, like Dane and I would do shows together, and like I'm Dane's like biggest fan, and they've supported me so much, and they were like, yeah, like when Charlie comes, like I'll get you to support. Like I'm like, okay, like, that's crazy, but like I don't really know. And then it came around, and it was literally because Dane had messaged Charlie herself, like, you need to book Prophecy Girl. And so it was cool that like even though I'm so lucky and to be a part of this music label niche based in Sydney, and to have a booking agent itself is so insane. I'm so grateful. But for that show to feel like I did that myself is so crazy. And yeah, like with shows, my agent will like send me as an offer, be like, hey, I've got this artist prophecy girl, and I think they'd be suited for this show or this event, this festival.
Yep.
Here's what they do, and yeah,
Then you get, then that's like, goes through, you wait for that process, I'm assuming.
yeah. Oh my god, I hate waiting, and I hate like even with the Charlie show. Like Dane was like, yeah, no, it's confirmed, it's happening. I'm like, okay, but I need email confirmation. Like I need to see.
Making sure my mic's working. Yep.
Is it? Is my how do you can tell? Oh yeah, yeah.
There's 2 levels. Yeah. Thank God.
And yeah, with where was that?
Booking the gig, waiting.
Waiting, yeah. With the Charlie show, Dane kept saying, like, it's confirmed, like, it's going to happen. I'm like, okay, that's good. But I need email confirmation, like,
Right.
with, from, like, the officials, you know, like, from the big boss, that
Not
it's
just Instagram.
happening.
Yeah.
And, like, I'd known about the Charlie tour since, like October last year, maybe. And then it wasn't until the end of January that it was confirmed, and the shows were in, like, the end of February. So often things happen very last minute, or they happen super far in advance. But yeah, like even like the Machine Girl happening 2 days
That
beforehand.
was nuts.
And
I was so surprised. I'd booked for that like months and months prior.
yeah.
And then you posted about it and was like, sorry everyone, it's booked out.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm coming to that.
It was so fun.
There were some mean people in that front row. They were lovely. But like I was like, I know the performer. I didn't say that, but I'm thinking like, I know the performer. I want to be present for this. And I got like, they were doing like leapfrog. They would do this and then they would rotate again and then they elbow.
Oh my god.
And I was like, they were probably maybe like 18-year-old girls. And I was like, I'm not about to like thrash you back. I was like, I've seen them before. You enjoy this. I'm going to be like an old dad and move back and have my arms crossed and be like, yes, this is good.
Yeah, I had a lot of interesting things about that crowd, particularly.
They were stinky.
Yeah, it was stinky and scary. But yeah, I got a lot of people saying that I was better than Machine Girl, which is kind of crazy. I was like, don't say that.
Yeah, you over-delivered from what I was expecting. Not
As
because
a
I was-
support.
not, as a support, like I was
Yeah.
like, oh wow, like I've seen you in a context of shows, but not in a housed venue with nicer speakers that don't turn off every 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is great. And I brought my friend Alex, who I'd yarned about, I was like, oh, this is going to be good. And he's a bit of a weird, not like a music snob, but he likes weird stuff. Like he's got like hundreds of playlists where it's super weird, varies. And so for him to be like, this like is really good. This is really, really nice. And I was like, that's awesome. I can share this with someone else.
Nice.
But then Machine Girl came on and I was like, I had no idea what to expect because they're so electronic online. But then they came out with these like instruments as well. And I was like, okay, what is this going to be like? And yes, it was amazing.
It was cool.
But not to, we love you, Machine Girl, but I feel like the rug was kind of pulled out a little bit from under you. You did such a good opening job.
Yeah.
It was super fun.
Yeah.
Also, you're I know that Tide have been doing shows, but you're really electric when you're on the stage.
Yeah, I think because that was the first like proper stage I think I had performed on. So like to have my own stage and good lighting, good sound, I was like, oh, okay, this is like, I'm gonna perform tonight. Like just being on there like unleashed something.
The makeup, everything. It was
Yeah.
like one of the first like times I'd seen it in person. I was like, this is really fucking cool.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I don't do that anymore. But that was like one of the first times I did that makeup. I didn't even like. I did my hair like double spiked up.
Yeah.
And like I was doing my makeup in the green room with Machine Girl. Both of them were just like asleep behind me.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But yeah.
That was awesome. That was nuts. That was a great show. Still crazy that happened. I don't believe it.
I know.
But yeah, cool. And then that show would end, and then you would kind of go home, reel with it. I feel like the funds thing is you'll deal with that when you get to that. But people trying to understand it. I feel like it's different for everyone in terms of understanding the process. And then I would say, how much downtime is there for you really, like nowadays? Like, how often are you constantly working on stuff, or do you kind of have time?
Yeah, it was.
Is it
It's
seasonal?
rare to like the past 3 years of DJing. I hadn't had a break. Like there was like almost 2 years in a row at the start where I was DJing every weekend and
Right.
just like constantly building myself up, which is awesome, and it's all I wanted. So I was living it up. But once I started getting booked for these like big shows, it was like, okay, this is coming up here. Like in January, we had up until August like fully booked out of like where we were going, like the tours and the shows, and it was like it was like daunting to see on like a scale of what's coming up, and that I can't do anything else but these things, and I have to also save up my money to like like pay for flights and to just like live, like there's like food and there's Ubers and there's all these things that I need to like have ready for these tours, and like even like outfits and photographers. Like there's so much. So it was so crazy to like see all of that and to be like, okay, that's insane. And like as soon as the Charlie tour ended, it was like, okay, now we're straight away starting the next tour and planning that. And then as soon as that ended, already planning the next one. So now I'm like, I don't have anything booked until October, and even that isn't much of a break. It's been like 2 months off.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you enjoy the time off, or do you feel like, do you get like post concert depression type deal?
um, it makes me appreciate shows way more, and like I think I had 2 months off before the What's So Not tour, and when it was starting to come up, like when I was getting ready to go to my first show, like it was in Perth, I was so excited. It's like, oh, I haven't been on stage in so long. I was so excited, but it was also like really nervous. But like as soon as I'm on stage, it's like, oh, this is. I'm reminded as why I love it so much,
Yeah,
and
like it feels right all of a sudden.
yeah, like I was getting very like there was a span like when I was doing the Slater tour and my Revelations tour, it was crammed in like there was like 9 shows in 7 weeks. So at one point it was like Brisbane Tuesday, Sydney Thursday, Melbourne the Friday, and the next Tuesday back somewhere else. Like it was so intensely, like physically draining, and like when they're too close together like that, I can like kind of lose that.
The thing that makes it special.
Yeah, like the shows were amazing, but it was like I haven't actually had time to process the last show that was like 2 days ago, and like
I think
there
the
was something.
anxiety of building up to it is like so important to the
Yeah,
excitement as well.
yeah, and then like yeah, not even having time to process that show and already being at the next one. But yeah, I enjoy now having breaks in between. Then I'm able to um, then I'm really able to plan the set more and to like it forces me to discover new music and to also make new music. Um, but yeah, then like in these times that I have off, it feels like I never want to like feel like I'm wasting my time, but like I can get like just creatively exhausted when it's been something that I've been doing like all year and for such intense things. But I'm like learning to enjoy the time off and to
I was
like
gonna
actually
say,
like
yeah, you need it. I feel like it's so.
yeah.
I don't know. For me, it's really important. Okay, and this is our final question. If you had to do it all again, would you? Do you feel there is even more you want to achieve in like the 2 or so years because you've achieved so much? Would you do it differently, or you do it all over again?
I'd do it again the exact same way, I think. Like I'm so like such a believer in things happening for a reason, and for like it's so cool to like see, oh, if I didn't do that, then I wouldn't have met this person and they wouldn't have got me that thing, and
Yeah.
like then I wouldn't have gotten these things made, and like it's just so cool to like, even like, it surprises me at the connections I've made so randomly. Like, this one random club night, I just met this amazing person, Sammy, and then I got her to shoot the tour photos, and like, is so, it just made me so much more like optimistic about what could happen next and who I could meet next. Like, it's so fun.
Your
Yeah.
photos have changed so. Like, I remember feeling like so excited about like me taking photos of you, but there was recent ones that you did that I've shown to a couple people. Just like from a photography perspective, they're like beautiful. They're like
Yeah.
the yellow hued ones at the cemetery
Oh,
with the Vivian Westwood top.
Yeah.
Obsessed with those.
So crazy.
Actually nuts how like from like your skin tone, like
I
the
know.
angle of the lens, like it's a bit wider. Oh, it's just such an interesting
Yeah.
shoot.
My friend Ken shot that in Perth when I was there for the What's Not tour, and it was a very like, we'd all just gone out for brunch together, and like on our way home, like, oh, like, should we stop in a cemetery and like take photos? Like, yeah.
Wow, it wasn't even
And
planned.
this was
Okay.
like on the Monday, and I was so exhausted and like coming down as well, but it happened, and then like he sent it back a few days later, and I was like,
Wow.
so much better than I ever could have thought. I was
Yeah.
like, you are
It
a
added to the fact that you're
genius.
exhausted in the cemetery.
Totally. Like, oh, he's so creative, and it's so cool to like, I've known Ken for like so many years just online through like Instagram, and now every time I go to Perth, like I stay at his house, and now he's doing all these amazing photography stuff, and like, yeah, it's cool to like, I just want to try and collaborate with as many like people who are at the same kind of level as me, and like just to like feel like we're coming up together and we're like at the front of this new wave of like creatives. So yeah, it's really cool. But yeah,
Yeah.
that shoot is so cool.
That shoot's amazing. I mean, there's tons of cool shoots. I love the shoots with the like blow up latex with Maria as well.
There are
Those
so
are
many
so cool.
things where like I'll like look at my Instagram and be like, I can't believe that is me and that's my work and that's something that I like curated because it looks just like my Pinterest
It's like
board.
a beautiful like resume in itself.
Yeah, it's exactly how I want it, and it's like for so many years I've tried getting it like this, and it's like that now. Like, oh shit, like this is really cool.
Yeah, I'm hoping I have more things to show. I unintentionally gatekeep all of my work. Well, yeah, that was until next time, pretty much. Thank you very much, Prophecy Girl.
Pleasure, thank you.
And for sharing your trade secrets. This has been Don't Panic Magazine. You can find me online at Tristan Maloney or somewhere. And you can find Isaac at Prophecy Girl with a 0, or just look up Prophecy Girl. Or hopefully go to one of their shows. Go to one of Prophecy Girl's shows. Like, do it. Like, actually do it. I am forcing you to go.
It's life-changing.
It's amazing. You'll become part of the fandom.
The cult.
The cult. But yeah, if you don't know them already, please have a look. One of the most deserving people I know. Genuinely. They're not really humble behind the scenes. Well, the camera turns off. Really difficult to work with. So
It's all
very
performance.
scary.
I did theatre. I'm acting.
This camera. There's only one camera. Tell the people what you've got going on. Is there anything new like that's coming up that you want to talk about? You want to share?
Ooh. I've got some shows booked soon, which are really cool.
Plug yourself. Plug new music.
I'm not allowed to say anything yet.
Okay.
When is this going to come out?
Probably end of October. Probably
okay.
October like 27. Probably is when it's due.
There's a show on October 27, which I'm really excited about.
People won't probably see it until grad show, which is November.
Yeah. But what's coming up? Who knows? I literally don't even know. Like, I'm excited to see what comes next. I really want to do some festivals coming up. And there's some tours I'm gonna be supporting, which I can't really talk about.
Imagine you at Listen Out with Ice Spice.
Oh my god, that'd be so gagged. I really want to like
That'd be so good.
pitch and listen out.
Yeah.
Are like and Laneway. I think the ones that I really want to play at. It feels like the crowds that go there, I feel like would
I'll get it.
fuck with what I
It
do.
would be interesting to see you at Strawberry as well.
I don't think I could do Strawberry. I went. Yeah, we went.
Yeah, we did.
I think it'd just be funny if I was put on there. Like,
Oh yeah,
it wouldn't be expected, and I think that's what is
you're
exciting.
they're at the jazz stage though.
No, because I remember seeing Soju Gang perform there, and like she was on super early on like the Saturday morning, and I just like stumbled over, and then she played an Evanescence remix of like Bring Me to Life, and I was like gagging.
Yeah.
I was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. So I think that festivals, especially like festivals like Strawberry, are so much more exciting when it's unexpected. Like I feel like other festivals where it's just like, you know, the same kind of DJ, just
Yeah,
different font
I
over and over.
agree. I think those types of festivals is about the space, less so the music.
Yeah.
It's about the thing it creates.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. This episode Perovska for Don't Panic a magazine, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao. Okay, I have to fucking take that off. Oh, thank you.
What we've done, gonna make such fools of ourselves. And we can hear what you say now yourself.
This now feels like an experiment for what I do when no one's around. And on camera.
This